You think you own your life? Think again. It is all an illusion. Your car, your home, your software, then they do not belong to you anymore. Stop paying for 1 month and watch how fast your world turns off. Big corporations have built a trap, and you stepped right into it. They call it the subscription economy. I call it modern feudalism. Wall Street loves it. They get rich while your bank account drains. From heated seats to your own front door, everything is becoming a rental. By 2030, they say you will own nothing and be happy. Are you? It is time to wake up and see the invisible cage they built around you. Let us expose the disturbing truth about the subscription trap right now.
What if I told you that 10 years from now you won't own almost anything? Not your car, not your home, maybe not even the heater keeping you alive through winter. Sounds dystopian, doesn't it? Like some far-off science fiction nightmare. Here's the thing, it's already happening. Right now, under your nose. And the scariest part? Most people don't even realize they're losing ownership of their own lives, one monthly payment at a time. Think about the last time you actually bought software. Not subscribed to it, bought it. Can't remember? That's because companies like Adobe and Microsoft fundamentally changed the game. You used to pay once for Photoshop or Office and own it forever. Now you pay every single month, and the second you stop, everything disappears. Your creative tools, your documents, your access, gone. You're not a customer anymore. You're a tenant in someone else's digital property, and the rent never stops coming due. But this goes deeper than software. Have you noticed what's happening with cars? Volvo, Mercedes, BMW, they're rolling out subscription models where you don't buy the vehicle. You essentially lease access to it indefinitely. And even if you do purchase a car outright, manufacturers are now locking features behind paywalls. Want heated seats in your BMW? That'll be a monthly subscription, even though the hardware is already installed in the car you supposedly own. Toyota experimented with charging a subscription for remote start. Let that sink in. You paid $40,000 for a vehicle, but to start it from your phone, you need to keep paying, month after month, year after year. And it doesn't stop at transportation and software. Smart home devices, appliances, even thermostats are shifting toward this model. Companies are designing refrigerators and air conditioners that require ongoing subscriptions to unlock their full capabilities. We're entering an era where the things you pay full price for don't actually belong to you. They're just gateways to endless billing cycles. Welcome to the subscription economy. A carefully engineered system where you pay forever and accumulate nothing. No equity, no assets, no generational wealth to pass down. Just an endless treadmill of monthly charges that drain your bank account while corporations celebrate predictable, infinite cash flow. Wall Street absolutely loves this model, and here's why. Subscription revenue is the holy grail of modern finance. Investors will pay massive multiples for companies with recurring revenue because it's guaranteed money, flowing in like clockwork, immune to the volatility of one-time purchases. You've already felt this, haven't you? That moment when you realized you were paying for 5 streaming services, 3 software subscriptions, cloud storage, a meal kit delivery, a fitness app, and somehow your bank account still looked like a crime scene at the end of the month. You're not alone. The average American now pays for more than a dozen subscriptions, many of which they've forgotten they even have. But here's what they're not telling you. This isn't just about convenience or modern living. This is economic architecture. This is wealth extraction disguised as innovation. What you're about to discover might genuinely surprise you, because this goes way beyond tech companies and car manufacturers. This is a coordinated shift in how capitalism itself functions, and it's rewriting the rules of ownership, security, and freedom in ways that benefit a very small group of people at the top, while quietly dispossessing everyone else. Stay with me until the end, because once you see the full picture, once you understand who's really profiting from this and what they're building toward, you'll never look at a convenient monthly payment the same way again. So let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how they're turning your entire life into a subscription service, and why you might never truly own anything ever again. But before we go deeper into this rabbit hole, I need to pause for just a second and talk to you directly. If what I've shared so far is hitting home, if you felt that uneasy recognition, that moment of realizing this is actually happening to you, then leave a comment below and tell me, what subscription finally made you realize things had gone too far? Was it another streaming service you barely use? The software you can't escape? Or maybe it was discovering your car was charging you monthly for features already built into it. Your voice matters here. Every comment you leave tells the algorithm that this conversation matters, that real people care about understanding the systems shaping their lives. That pushes this content to more people who need to see it. People still sleepwalking through the subscription trap, thinking it's just the way things are now. If this is resonating with you, hit that like button. I know everyone asks for likes, but those likes determine whether this video reaches 10,000 people or 10 million. They're the difference between this message staying in a small corner of the internet or actually challenging the narrative that corporations and Wall Street want you to accept without question. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. This isn't a one-off topic. This is part of a much larger story about money, power, and the hidden architecture of modern capitalism, the kind of stuff they don't teach you in school and the mainstream media barely touches. Every week, we dig into another layer of how the system really works, who benefits, and what it costs the rest of us. So drop that comment, hit the like, and subscribe if you haven't already, because what comes next is where things get truly disturbing. We're about to trace this subscription model back to its roots, and you're going to see exactly who engineered this shift, why Wall Street is obsessed with it, and how it connects to a vision of the future where you literally own nothing, and they want you to be happy about it. So here's where we need to understand the transformation that happened, because this shift didn't just occur naturally, it was engineered. Let's go back for a moment. Think about how your grandparents lived. When they bought a car, they owned it. When they purchased a washing machine, it was theirs until it physically broke down, and even then, they could fix it. Software? You bought it once, installed it from a disk, and it was yours forever. The economic model was simple. You exchanged money for ownership. You built equity. You accumulated assets. And when those assets appreciated or served you for decades, you actually got ahead financially. That's how the middle class was built in America, through ownership. Now fast forward to today. You don't buy Microsoft Office anymore. You subscribe to Microsoft 365. You don't purchase Adobe Photoshop. You rent access to the Creative Cloud. You don't own your music collection. You stream it from Spotify until you stop paying, and then it vanishes. This isn't just a minor shift in business practice. This is a complete restructuring of the relationship between consumer and corporation, one of the most significant economic transformations of our lifetime. What used to be a transaction, money for goods, has become a perpetual relationship where you're locked into paying forever, and the corporation holds all the power. Here's the truth they don't want you to think about too hard. This model guarantees infinite cash flow for them while ensuring you never build wealth. Let me break down the financial architecture behind this, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. On Wall Street, there's a metric that investors obsess over called MRR, monthly recurring revenue. It's the holy grail of modern capitalism. Why? Because it's predictable, it's stable, it's exponentially more valuable than one-time sales. When a company can show investors that it has tens of millions of customers paying every single month, those revenue streams get valued at massive multiples, sometimes 20, 30, even 50 times annual revenue. Compare that to a traditional company selling products, which might be valued at just 2 or 3 times revenue. Netflix doesn't just sell you movies, it sells Wall Street the certainty that millions of people will pay them every month for years. Adobe's stock price exploded when they switched from selling software to renting it, not because the product got better, but because they transformed unpredictable one-time purchases into guaranteed monthly income. Investors threw money at them because subscription models are essentially annuities, financial instruments that pay out continuously over time. They turned your life, your needs, your daily tools into annuities for shareholders. And here's where it gets darker. While corporations accumulate predictable wealth from your recurring payments, you accumulate nothing. Zero equity, no asset appreciation. When your grandfather bought a house, it became an asset that typically appreciated over time, something he could pass down, borrow against, or sell for profit. When you subscribe to housing as a service or pay rent forever because homeownership is increasingly out of reach, you're generating wealth for landlords and investment firms, not yourself. Every month you pay for software subscriptions, streaming services, car access, and smart home features. You're enriching corporations while your own balance sheet remains empty. This is economic extraction disguised as convenience. They've convinced an entire generation that ownership is outdated, that subscriptions are liberating, that you don't want the burden of owning things. But here's what that really means. You're being systematically dispossessed. The wealth your parents and grandparents built through ownership is being replaced by a model where you pay rent on everything, and rent never stops. You're never paid off, you're never free, you're never secure. Now, I want to go even deeper, because what we're witnessing isn't just a business trend, it's a deliberate restructuring of capitalism itself. The subscription economy isn't some accidental byproduct of digital innovation. It's financial engineering designed to transfer wealth upward, while keeping everyone else in a permanent state of dependence. And the people driving this transformation aren't just tech entrepreneurs. They're the same investment banks, hedge funds, and private equity firms that have been reshaping the economy for decades, always finding new ways to extract value from ordinary people while concentrating power at the top. Think about who's buying up single-family homes across America right now. Massive investment firms like Blackstone, turning entire neighborhoods into rental properties. Think about who's funding the subscription car companies. Venture capitalists, who see steady monthly payments as more valuable than one-time car sales. Think about who benefits when software, transportation, housing, and even healthcare shift to subscription models. It's always the same financial elite, the same Wall Street institutions that have mastered the art of turning your basic needs into their passive income. They've studied the psychology of this too. Subscriptions feel smaller, less painful than big purchases. $15 a month doesn't trigger the same financial alarm as a $500 software package. But multiply those $15 charges across dozens of services, across millions of consumers, across decades, and you're looking at one of the largest transfers of wealth in human history. From the middle class to corporate shareholders, from workers to Wall Street, from you to them. And the most disturbing part? They're just getting started, because now they're coming for the physical world. Your home, your car, your appliances, even your body through health monitoring subscriptions. The vision isn't just digital subscriptions, it's total economic capture, where every aspect of your existence generates recurring revenue for someone else. Drop a comment below and just write, "I see it now." Because once you do, there's no going back to thinking this is all just harmless innovation. Now I want to go even deeper into this because understanding the financial architecture is one thing, but recognizing how they actually trap you in this system is something else entirely. This isn't accidental. Every element of the subscription economy is psychologically engineered to make leaving nearly impossible. They've studied human behavior, mapped out decision-making patterns, and built digital cages that feel like freedom until you try to escape. Let's start with the most obvious tactic. The free trial. You've experienced this 1,000 times. Sign up for Spotify Premium, get 3 months free. Try Adobe Creative Cloud, first month on us. Test drive this streaming service, no credit card required. Except of course you do need to enter your payment information, just not charged yet. This is lock-in technology disguised as generosity. They're not giving you something for free out of kindness. They're getting you dependent, integrated, invested in their ecosystem before you've consciously decided to commit. Here's how it works. During that trial period, you start building. You create playlists on Spotify with hundreds of carefully curated songs. You develop projects in Photoshop with layers, custom brushes, and workflows you've spent hours perfecting. You upload all your photos to Google Photos, organize them into albums, tag faces, create memories. By the time the trial ends, you're not just using the service, you're embedded in it. Your creative work, your memories, your daily habits are now hosted on their servers, formatted in their proprietary systems, inaccessible without continued payment. And when that first charge hits your account, you barely notice. It's only $15, only $10. What's the big deal? Except now you've crossed the threshold from trial user to paying customer, and the psychology shifts. Canceling isn't just about saving money anymore. It's about losing everything you've built. This is what I call the sunk cost trap. You've invested time, energy, and emotion into this platform. Walking away means abandoning that investment, starting over somewhere else, rebuilding from scratch. So you keep paying, month after month, year after year. Apple has perfected this better than anyone. Once you're in the Apple ecosystem, iPhone, MacBook, iPad, AirPods, iCloud, Apple Music, Apple TV, leaving becomes almost unthinkable. Your messages only work seamlessly with other Apple users. Your photos sync across devices automatically. Your purchased apps, your saved passwords, your entire digital life is locked into their infrastructure. Switching to Android or Windows isn't just inconvenient. It feels like immigrating to another country where nothing works the way you're used to. That's intentional. They've built golden handcuffs, and most people never even realize they're wearing them until they try to take them off. But here's where things get truly sinister. We used to talk about planned obsolescence, the idea that companies deliberately designed products to break down after a certain period so you'd have to buy replacements. Light bulbs that burn out, appliances that fail right after the warranty expires, phones that slow down with each new operating system update. That was bad enough. But the subscription economy has introduced something far more insidious: expiration of access. The product doesn't break. Your permission to use it just expires. Think about what that means. You buy a car for $40,000. It's sitting in your driveway. The heated seats are physically installed. The hardware exists. But unless you pay a monthly subscription, those seats won't heat. The remote start feature, locked behind a paywall. Advanced safety features, subscribe or they're disabled. You own the car, except you don't really own it. You own a shell with artificially restricted capabilities, and the manufacturer holds the keys to unlock what you already paid for. This is economic hostage-taking. Your smart home devices stop being smart when the subscription lapses. Your professional software locks you out mid-project. Your cloud storage fills up and refuses new uploads. Your digital life grinds to a halt, not because anything broke, not because the technology failed, but because you stopped paying rent on access to things you thought you owned. And they've gamified your dependence brilliantly. Cancel now and lose your entire music library, thousands of songs you've collected over years. Stop your cloud subscription and kiss goodbye to a decade of photos, documents, and memories. Let your software license expire and watch your business tools become unusable, your files inaccessible, your workflow destroyed. They've made cancellation so painful, so costly in terms of lost data and disrupted habits, that most people never do it. They just keep paying forever because the alternative feels catastrophic. Now here's the revelation that should genuinely disturb you. This is white-collar crime dressed up as innovation. If a mafia don walked up to you and said, "Nice photos you got there. Be a shame if something happened to them. Pay me every month and they stay safe," we'd call that extortion. We'd call it racketeering. But when a Silicon Valley company does the exact same thing, holds your data hostage, charges you perpetually for access, and threatens loss if you stop paying, we call it disruption. We call it the future. We celebrate the entrepreneurs behind it as visionaries. They're not selling you convenience. They're buying your freedom, one monthly payment at a time. They're creating artificial scarcity where none needs to exist, engineering dependence where independence used to be the default, and extracting wealth continuously from your basic need to function in modern society. The tactics are sophisticated, the language is sanitized, but the underlying mechanism is the same as any protection racket. Pay us or lose what you value. This is expropriating people silently, legally, and with their own consent, because you clicked "I agree" on a terms of service document you never read. And the most brilliant part of their strategy is that most people don't even realize it's happening until they're already too deep to escape without significant cost and pain. Write in the comments, "This is extraction, not innovation," because that's exactly what it is. Now I want to take this conversation to a place that might sound like conspiracy theory, except it's not theory at all. It's openly stated policy from some of the most powerful institutions on the planet. In 2016, the World Economic Forum released a video predicting life in 2030. The tagline? "You'll own nothing and be happy." Let that phrase settle in your mind. You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy. When I first heard it, I thought it had to be satire, some kind of provocative thought experiment designed to spark debate. But they were completely serious. This wasn't a warning. It was a vision, a roadmap, a glimpse into the future that powerful institutions are actively constructing through policy, investment, and technological infrastructure. Now, you might be wondering what this has to do with everything we've been discussing. Here's the connection. The subscription economy isn't just a business model. It's the infrastructure for a world where ownership becomes obsolete, where everything you need to survive and function is rented from corporations, where your entire existence generates recurring revenue for someone else. This is the end game. And it's not some distant dystopian fantasy. It's happening right now, systematically, across every sector of the economy. The evidence isn't hidden. It's in plain sight, documented in corporate earnings calls, investment strategies, and policy papers. Let's start with housing, because shelter is fundamental. You've probably noticed that buying a home has become nearly impossible for younger generations. Prices have skyrocketed while wages stagnated. But here's what's happening behind the scenes. Massive investment firms are purchasing entire neighborhoods of single-family homes, paying cash, outbidding regular families, and converting those properties into permanent rentals. They're not flipping houses. They're building rental empires designed to capture generational wealth that would otherwise flow to families. And beyond traditional rentals, we're seeing the rise of co-living spaces, essentially adult dormitories where you rent a bedroom in a shared apartment, paying monthly for access to housing you'll never own, in buildings designed to maximize density and minimize your personal space. Then there's the concept creeping into the market called housing as a service. Imagine subscription-based living where you pay monthly not just for rent, but for furniture, utilities, internet, cleaning, maintenance, everything bundled into one perpetual payment. You're not a tenant with rights and a lease. You're a subscriber who can be modified, relocated, or terminated based on terms and conditions you never read. This is the transformation of housing from an asset you build equity in to a service you consume indefinitely. And for institutional investors, it's beautiful, predictable cash flow extracted from people's most basic need for shelter. Transportation is following the exact same trajectory. Car ownership is being replaced by ride-sharing networks and subscription vehicle programs. Why own a car when you can just summon one with an app? Sounds convenient, right? Except now you're dependent on a corporation for mobility. You have no asset. When the subscription cost increases, and it will because it always does, you have no choice but to pay or lose access to transportation. Major automakers are already piloting subscription models where you don't purchase a vehicle, you lease access month to month, paying for the privilege of driving something you'll never own, with features locked behind additional paywalls. Entertainment has already fully transitioned. Nobody owns movies anymore. You don't buy albums. You stream everything, and the second you stop paying, your entire library disappears. You're renting access to culture itself, and they can remove content whenever they want, change prices arbitrarily, and you have zero recourse because you own nothing. What you watched last month might not exist next month, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it gets even more invasive. Healthcare is moving towards subscription models. Concierge medicine, where you pay monthly for access to your doctor. Fitness is subscription-based with connected equipment and app-based coaching. Education is being transformed into continuous learning subscriptions, where credentials require ongoing payments to maintain relevance. Even food is becoming subscription-oriented with meal kits, delivery services, and membership-based grocery programs. Every fundamental aspect of human life is being re-engineered into monthly recurring revenue streams. Now here's the philosophical question we need to grapple with. Are we being conditioned to accept dependence disguised as minimalism? Because that's exactly what this is. They've rebranded perpetual renting as liberation from the burden of ownership. Younger generations have been sold the narrative that owning things is outdated, that experiences matter more than possessions, that subscriptions are smart and convenient. And there's partial truth there, until you realize that the outcome is a generation with zero wealth, zero assets, zero security, completely dependent on corporate infrastructure for every basic need. The people at the top understand what most people don't. Ownership is power. When you own your home, you have security, autonomy, the ability to weather economic storms. When you own your car, your tools, your software, your possessions, you have independence. But when you own nothing, when everything is rented, leased, subscribed to, you are perpetually vulnerable. You can be priced out. You can be cut off. You can be controlled. And that dependency is extraordinarily profitable for the corporations extracting your monthly payments, but catastrophic for your long-term financial stability and personal freedom. The ultimate wealth extraction mechanism has been perfected. Convince people that ownership is a burden while building business models that guarantee they pay forever for access to necessities. This is neo-feudalism dressed in sleek interfaces and convenient apps. You're not a serf working the Lord's land anymore. You're a subscriber paying rent on every aspect of your existence to corporate landlords who own everything while you own nothing. And the most insidious part is they've convinced millions of people that this is progress, that this is the future, that resistance to this model is backwards thinking. The impact of this transformation will define the next century. We're watching one of the largest transfers of wealth and power in modern history, and it's happening in plain sight, completely legal, with most people participating willingly because they don't see the full picture. They see convenience. They see low monthly payments. They don't see the cage being built around them one subscription at a time. Drop in the comments. Ownership is freedom. Because understanding that truth is the first step toward breaking free from this system. Now I want to pull back the curtain completely and show you exactly who wins and who loses in this new economic order. Understanding the players reveals the true nature of what's happening. This isn't some abstract market force or inevitable technological evolution. This is a deliberate wealth transfer orchestrated by specific institutions and individuals who profit enormously while the rest of us get poorer, less secure, and more dependent. Let's start with the winners. At the top of the pyramid, you have massive investment funds like BlackRock, Vanguard, and Blackstone, firms managing trillions of dollars in assets. These aren't passive investors. They're actively reshaping the economy to maximize extraction. Blackstone alone has spent tens of billions purchasing residential real estate across America, converting home ownership opportunities into permanent rental income streams. They're not in the housing business. They're in the cash flow business. Every month, millions of families pay rent to corporate landlords who will never sell, never offer paths to ownership, just collect forever. Wall Street rewards this model lavishly because it's predictable, scalable, and perpetual. Then you have big tech, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. These companies have successfully built digital ecosystems so comprehensive that escaping them feels impossible. Apple's services revenue alone, subscriptions to iCloud, Apple Music, App Store commissions, AppleCare, generates over $80 billion annually, and it's growing faster than their hardware sales. They've transformed from a company that sold you products into one that rents you access to your own digital life. Google controls your email, your photos, your documents, your calendar, your maps, and increasingly, they're monetizing that control through premium subscriptions and data harvesting. Amazon has moved beyond selling products to creating Prime, a subscription that locks in consumer behavior and generates billions in predictable revenue. The automotive industry has caught on fast. BMW, Mercedes, Toyota, Ford. They're all experimenting with subscription features in vehicles you've already purchased. Imagine paying $45,000 for a car and then being charged monthly to use the heated seats that are physically installed in that car. That's not innovation, that's ransom. The financial incentive is overwhelming. A one-time car sale generates revenue once. Subscription features generate revenue for the entire lifespan of the vehicle, potentially doubling the profit from each customer. Investors love it. Stock prices surge when automakers announce subscription strategies because Wall Street sees the transformation from product sales to service revenue. Software companies have already completed this transition entirely. Adobe's shift to Creative Cloud turned a struggling business into a cash-generating machine. Microsoft's move to Office 365 fundamentally changed their revenue model from unpredictable to guaranteed. Salesforce, Zoom, Slack, every major enterprise software company operates on subscriptions now because the valuation multiples are staggering. Investors will pay 20, 30, sometimes 40 times annual revenue for subscription businesses versus maybe 3 times revenue for traditional product companies. Now let's talk about the losers, because this is where the human cost becomes undeniable. The middle class is being systematically hollowed out. The pathway to wealth for previous generations was simple. Buy a home, build equity, pass it down. Purchase durable goods, maintain them, accumulate assets. That's how families built security and transferred wealth across generations. But when housing becomes unaffordable and converts to permanent rentals, when every product becomes a subscription, when ownership is replaced by access, the middle class stops accumulating wealth. You're working just as hard, maybe harder, but your net worth stays flat or declines because you're paying rent on everything and owning nothing. The next generation inherits the consequences. What are millennials and Gen Z going to pass down to their children? Not houses. Most can't afford to buy. Not paid-off cars. They're leasing or subscribing. Not software, music collections, or physical media. Everything is cloud-based and subscription-dependent. They're inheriting student debt, not assets. They're inheriting a world where financial security requires perpetual payments to corporations just to maintain basic functionality. The wealth gap isn't just widening. It's becoming structural, embedded in the very business models that dominate the economy. Here's the historical parallel that should chill you. We've been here before. This is feudalism repackaged for the digital age. In medieval Europe, peasants didn't own land. They worked fields owned by lords and paid rent in crops, labor, or money for the privilege of survival. They had no equity, no path to ownership, no escape from dependence. The aristocracy accumulated wealth and power, while everyone else remained trapped in cycles of payment and obligation. Fast forward to today and the dynamic is nearly identical. You don't own your home, you pay rent to Blackstone. You don't own your software, you pay rent to Adobe. You don't own your car's features, you pay rent to BMW. You don't own your digital life, you pay rent to Apple and Google. The corporations are the new feudal lords, and subscription payments are the new tithes. The only difference is the lords used to wear crowns and live in castles. Now they wear hoodies, give TED Talks about changing the world, and live in Silicon Valley compounds. They talk about mission, purpose, and making the world a better place while building economic structures that concentrate wealth upward and keep everyone else in permanent financial dependence. This is neo-feudalism, and it's being celebrated as progress. The new aristocracy doesn't need armies to maintain power. They have terms of service agreements, digital lock-in, and economic dependency. The most brilliant aspect of their strategy is they've convinced people that this system is liberating, that subscriptions are convenient, that ownership is outdated. They've rebranded servitude as flexibility and sold an entire generation on the idea that renting everything is smarter than owning anything. The impact on society will be generational. We're creating a permanent class of people who own nothing, accumulate no wealth, and remain dependent on corporate infrastructure for basic existence. Meanwhile, a tiny elite owns everything, extracts rent perpetually, and passes concentrated wealth and power to their descendants. The decisions being made right now, the business models being normalized today, are locking in inequality for decades to come. Leave a comment and write, "I won't be a subscriber to my own life," because recognizing what's happening is the first step toward making different choices. Now I want to shift this conversation from diagnosis to action, because understanding the problem is only valuable if it changes how you make decisions going forward. The truth is, you're not powerless here. You're not trapped yet. But the window for building real autonomy is narrowing, and the choices you make in the next few years will determine whether you end up owning your life or renting it from corporations forever. The first step is pure awareness. You need to develop what I call subscription consciousness, the ability to recognize when you're being pulled into an ecosystem designed to capture you permanently. Every time you see a free trial, ask yourself, what am I building here that I won't be able to take with me? Every time a company offers you convenience through a subscription, Pause and calculate the long-term cost. $15 a month sounds trivial until you multiply it by 12 months, then by 10 years, then by the 6 other subscriptions you're already paying for. Suddenly, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars over a decade for access to things you could have owned outright for a fraction of that cost. That's not convenience. That's a slow bleed disguised as a bargain. Start auditing your current subscriptions with brutal honesty. Pull up your bank statements and credit card bills. Count them. Add up the monthly total, then annualize it. Most people are shocked when they realize they're spending $3,000, $4,000, sometimes $5,000 a year on subscriptions they barely use or could easily replace with one-time purchases or free alternatives. That's not judgment, that's just math. And that money, redirected toward ownership, could transform your financial trajectory. The second principle is this: prioritize ownership of assets that hold or appreciate in value. Real estate, even if it's just a small condo or a piece of land, gives you equity and security that renting never will. Tools, whether that's software you can actually buy and own, physical equipment for your trade, or skills you develop that can't be taken away, these are investments in independence. A carpenter who owns their tools can work anywhere. A graphic designer who purchased Adobe CS6 outright back in the day still has functional software without monthly payments. A homeowner who paid off their mortgage has housing security that a renter will never experience. Ownership is not just financial, it's psychological. It's the difference between standing on solid ground and balancing on someone else's platform. This doesn't mean never subscribe to anything. It means being strategic about what you're willing to rent versus what you need to own. Some subscriptions provide genuine value and flexibility, but ask yourself, is this enhancing my life, or is it replacing ownership I should be building? If you're subscribing to software for work, could you learn an open source alternative that you'd own forever? If you're renting furniture, could you buy used pieces that will last decades and retain resale value? If you're paying monthly for features in your car, could your next vehicle be a simpler model without digital locks and paywalls? The third strategy is diversification of dependencies, and this is critical. Do not put your entire digital life, your finances, your work, and your personal data into one corporate ecosystem. When everything you do runs through Apple or Google or Amazon, you've handed them complete control over your functionality. That's not convenience. That's captivity with a friendly interface. Spread your risk. Use different platforms for different purposes. Keep local backups of important data. Learn skills that aren't dependent on proprietary systems. The goal is to ensure that if any single company raises prices, changes terms, or locks you out, your life doesn't collapse. And here's something people don't talk about enough. Invest in financial literacy around business models. Understand why companies want you as a subscriber rather than a customer. Learn to read between the lines when they talk about recurring revenue and customer lifetime value in earnings calls. That's Wall Street language for extracting maximum money from you over the longest possible period. When you understand their incentives, you stop being a passive target and start making decisions that serve your interests instead of theirs. The deeper truth here is philosophical. Ownership is power, and subscription is servitude. That's not hyperbole. It's the fundamental dynamic at play. When you own your home, your car, your tools, your software, you have autonomy. You can weather economic storms. You can make choices based on your values rather than corporate terms of service. You can pass assets to your children. But when you own nothing and rent everything, you're perpetually vulnerable to price increases, service cancellations, and economic leverage from corporations that don't have your best interests at heart. You become a tenant in your own life. This transformation in your mindset, from consumer to owner, from subscriber to proprietor, is one of the most important shifts you can make. It affects every financial decision, every purchase, every click of an I agree button. It's the difference between building wealth and treading water. It's the difference between freedom and dependence. You still have choices. You can still buy property in some markets. You can still purchase goods outright. You can still learn skills, acquire tools, and build equity. But the infrastructure is shifting rapidly toward a subscription-only world. And every year that passes makes ownership harder and more expensive, while making subscriptions more entrenched and unavoidable. The decisions you make now, what you choose to buy versus rent, what subscriptions you cut, what assets you prioritize, those decisions compound over time into either security or vulnerability. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to wake you up, because awareness changes behavior, and behavior changes outcomes. You're living through a historic economic transformation, and most people are sleepwalking through it, making choices without understanding the long-term consequences. But you don't have to be one of them. You can choose differently. You can build ownership in a world designed to keep you renting. You can create security in a system engineered for dependence. The question is whether you'll act while you still can. Write in the comments, "I choose ownership," because making that declaration, even just typing those words, shifts something in how you see the world and the decisions you make from here forward. If you made it this far, you're not just watching, you're thinking, you're questioning, you're connecting dots that most people never even notice. And in a world that profits from your ignorance, that decision to stay awake is quietly revolutionary. This channel exists because there are people like you who refuse to accept surface-level explanations or corporate narratives. People who want the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. So if this conversation resonated with you, if something shifted while you were watching, go ahead and subscribe. Not because I'm asking you to, but because this is just one piece of a much larger puzzle we're putting together here. Every week we're unpacking another layer of how the financial world actually operates, who really benefits, and what it means for the rest of us trying to build lives worth living. You're not just joining a channel, you're joining a conversation that most of the world isn't having yet. Leave a comment and just write, "I made it to the end." That's it. Simple. But it tells me you were here, you engaged, and you're part of a community that's choosing awareness over ignorance. It also helps push this message to more people who need to hear it. And honestly, that's the whole point. Getting this information out there where it can actually make a difference. Every comment, every share, every conversation you start because of what you learned here, that's how real change spreads. One person at a time, one awakening at a time. If you found value in what we talked about today, hit that like button. It's a small thing, but it signals to the algorithm that this matters, that real conversations about economic power and financial autonomy deserve space alongside all the noise out there. Your click is a vote for substance over distraction. There's another video right here that digs into related territory, how these same financial structures show up in different parts of the economy, the patterns you start seeing once you know what to look for. Click on it and keep going, because the more you understand about how this system works, the better equipped you are to navigate it, resist it, and ultimately build something better for yourself and the people you care about. You now know something that most people will spend their whole lives never understanding. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.